Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, we need to talk about the criminal fund that Donald Trump set up, the one that set me off last week and had me cursing like a sailor. Sure, you guys know what I'm talking about. New details have been revealed. This is about the almost $1.8 billion criminal fund that Donald Trump set up for all of his allies. It's even worse than what I shared last week when the news first broke. Also, we have officially now, right before I came on, this popped up on my screen. We have the first official January 6th criminal who has filed for $5 million. I'm not kidding. I also have new polling to share, which shows that even some Trump voters are not happy about the lawsuit that started this whole thing. Also, a lawsuit has been filed. Um, so, uh, you know, we'll see where that goes. Republican lawmakers now are speaking out, some of them. So, here's what we know. Here's, the fallout, I should say, from this corrupt, swampy deal. So, two Trump appointees just quit. One quit because of the Iran war. She just, I guess, quit in the last week. And then the other one was because of this almost multi billion dollar giveaway to Trump's criminal allies. So here's an article about this. The New York Times reported on this. They said Brian Morrissey, the Treasury's general counsel, resigned from the position 7 months after he was confirmed to it by the Senate, and just hours after the Trump administration announced the fund on Monday. So he just quit because of this. So the fact that this deal was even too much to stomach for an attorney who was appointed by Trump, someone who was willing to work for this evil regime, that tells you how corrupt this is. And here's some of the new details that have come out. So, Trump Humper and acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, the guy who literally helped to launder the image of Ghislaine Maxwell, the pedo's image, he is in charge of appointing members of a panel who will receive, get these tax dollars, our money, and dole it out. And Donald Trump has the sole discretion to remove any of these members from this panel without cause. So if they approve or deny someone and Trump disagrees with their decisions, he can kick them off the panel. This agreement also gives the entire Trump crime family a lifetime pass on any financial crimes that they've likely committed, because we know that they have. So here's an article about that. This was found in an addendum that they filed like a day or two after the fact. And so this was an addendum to the settlement that says that the IRS would be, quote, forever barred and precluded from pursuing unpaid tax claims against Trump, members of his family, or his businesses that arose before the agreement was made. This is beyond corrupt. It is obscene. Okay. And don't take my word for it. Here is what a former DOJ attorney said. This is an attorney who quit the Trump regime, walked away from the DOJ because she didn't like all the corruption that was going on. So here's what she said.
Liz Oyer, the former pardon attorney for the Department of Justice. Here's the deal. Todd Blanche, in his official capacity as acting attorney general, signed this one-page document right here. It's called a release of claims. And here's what it does. It signs away all claims against Donald Trump on behalf of the United States. In other words, it says that Trump cannot be investigated, audited, or sued by the United States government in the future. That includes any government agency, the Justice Department, the IRS, etc. In effect, this will end the ongoing audits of Trump and his companies. But that's not all. It forfeits our right to collect any taxes owed by Trump and his businesses. It waives our right to try to reclaim the money he stole from taxpayers. It gives up our right to sue him for damages or to pursue really any legal recourse whatsoever against Donald Trump. And it binds the United States forever, meaning it applies even after Trump and Blanche leave office. And it's actually even worse than that because it's not limited to just Donald Trump. It also signs away all of our claims against his companies, his family members, and his associates. This is a staggering betrayal of the public trust. Even compared to other bad acts by this administration, this one stands out as especially unforgivably corrupt. Trump and Blanche are colluding together to give away our money, our rights, and our democracy. I'm sure there will be lawsuits that will argue that this agreement is illegal and unenforceable, and hopefully they will succeed. I'm not sure who will bring them or when, but I'll be keeping a close eye on it and I'll keep you informed. In the meantime, please help me sound the alarm. This is truly an emergency situation. Please share this with your friends and neighbors and make sure they understand how corrupt and unconscionable this is. Call your elected reps and demand that they take action, whatever you can think of to help defend our democracy. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, this is a 5 alarm fire. And look at who this money might go to and how much. As I said, this is the first one. Proud Boys leader, proud bigot, Enrique Tarrio just filed a claim against this fund for $5 million. And he said, "Oh, I'm not greedy, but this really fucked up my life." No, you fucked up your life. You committed crimes. You were found guilty by a jury of your peers. Let's be clear here. JD Vance was asked about this. I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but I just saw the video today. And in his response, he said, "Well, if people were prosecuted and they really did nothing wrong and they were wrongly, convicted and blah, blah, they're convicted in a court of law." So you're saying that the jury got it wrong or the judge got it wrong? I mean, a ton of these people took plea agreements. They took plea deals. All the rest of them went to trial and were found guilty. So how exactly did they get it wrong? How are they not guilty? These people claim to be for law and order, but yet they don't agree with the court's decision. They don't agree with the jury's decisions. And Donald Trump even said on camera yesterday or today, "Oh, well, so they were proven right. They shouldn't have been prosecuted. They were proven right." No, they were not. They were never proven right. Enrique Tarrio was found guilty of seditious conspiracy against the United States. One of the most serious crimes that you can commit against the United States. And that was based on weeks and weeks of testimony, text messages, signal messages, social media posts. There was no ambiguity here. So there you go, guys. Enrique Tarrio, a seditious conspirator, could be walking away with $5 million after what he did to our country and what he helped to incite at our nation's capital, that he was found guilty of. Anyway, this fund would also cease to exist or, come to an end. Nobody could apply after December 15th of 2028. So that ensures that Trump and Trump alone would oversee this corruption, and all of his minions will receive their blood money before he leaves office. And here's why this settlement happened in the first place, which is like almost unbelievable. This wasn't because the IRS thought they were going to lose, so they were like, "Oh, we better settle." No, in fact, it was the complete opposite. Here's an article that you guys can go take a look at. So the IRS thought that they could fight this, it says, but they settled anyway. They settled with Trump because they knew that he was going to lose, because Trump filed his lawsuit too late. The law says you have to file this lawsuit within 2 years. If you think that the IRS improperly released your your tax information, you have to file within 2 years. Well, Donald Trump didn't file this lawsuit until 7 years after his tax returns were leaked. They were leaked in 2019. And the New York Times, in this article, they detail how they now have obtained an internal IRS memo. They don't know if it ever was passed on to the Justice Department, but it was like a 25-page memo that told the Justice Department, you need to go seek a dismissal in court based on the fact that he filed it too late. Just that alone would have disqualified this lawsuit. Instead, Donald Trump's Justice Department did not even bother to send an attorney to court. They didn't even bother to respond to this lawsuit and dispute any of the claims. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking, you guys. I think we need to file a lawsuit. I think we need to sue Donald Trump, Todd Blanche, whomever, whoever, I forget who's running the IRS right now. They're handing out our money without congressional approval because the DOJ is failing us. They're failing to protect us and our money by failing to even send an attorney to court. I'm not an attorney, but I believe we have standing because this is our tax dollars. They're wasting our tax dollars and they're violating the Constitution by bypassing Congress, which holds the power of the purse. And I'm not joking about this. I will gladly sign on as the main plaintiff. So if there are attorneys watching and you want to provide some advice on this, or you're willing to take on the case, and if all of you watching are willing to help pitch in a small amount each monthly to help cover the ongoing legal fees, because I do not have the means to pay for this myself, I will gladly pitch in along with you, but I cannot take it on myself. So please let me know down in the comment section. Let me all know, or let me know from all of you. Anyway, in the meantime, there are 2 police officers who defended the Capitol on January 6th who have filed a lawsuit over this. So I actually reached out to Pam Hemphill to see if I could get involved or help in any way. But anyway, or if I, maybe, could get some advice from them on filing. So officers Harry Dunn and Daniel Hodges, they filed a lawsuit today alleging that Donald Trump is attempting to pay people who organized and took part in the insurrection, which obviously he is. And obviously, Enrique Tarrio agrees with that since he just filed a $5 million claim. Well, some lawmakers have now finally found those little itty bitty marble shaped nuggets in their pants that they call testicles. So take a look at what a couple of them had to say. They were asked about this corrupt deal today. Here's what they said.
What do you make of this $1.7 billion fund for
Bad news. We're going to try to kill it.
You're going to try and kill it?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. And how?
Well, we're considering legislative options. We're going to write a letter to the AG to start, but we're considering a legislative option.
Okay.
We're trying to unpack exactly, what the legal machinations are, but can't do that.
Right.
Can't
And,
do that.
have you ever heard of any other Americans, like other than Trump as an associate?
I haven't. I've not.
Who are unauditable by the IRS?
I've never heard that before.
Okay. So would that be part of the legislative?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah, you can't do that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune said he's not a big fan of a compensation fund for the president's allies. Are you?
I will tell you, my first reaction was this doesn't pass the smell test. Now, that said, I'm willing to learn more about it and its intent, but I suspect you might find this might be one area where you might find a lot of bipartisan questioning of whether or not this is a good idea.
So will you try to block it?
I mentioned to you, I have to know more about what it is, but my initial reaction is, look, from all outward appearances, this doesn't pass the smell test.
So that the first man that you saw there walking down the hallway, I believe his name is Fitzgerald. He just filed a, I don't know what, he filed something with the Justice Department demanding more information about this. And here's why I think that they're finally doing something, taking some action on one of Donald Trump's corrupt actions, because they're in a CBS YouGov poll that I shared with you guys today. A clear majority of Americans disagree with Donald Trump even suing the IRS and trying to get this money. So hopefully you guys can make this out. But this pollster asked the respondents, do you think the IRS should pay Trump $10 billion? 64% said no, only 19% said yes. So 64%, the fact that you get that high, that tells us that at least some Trump voters disagree with him being paid. And this poll was from before the news broke about this criminal fund being set up. So I can't wait to hear what focus group participants have to say about this. I can't wait to see the new polling that's going to come out. And here's the thing. Here's my question to MAGA supporters who might say, oh, this is fine. Yeah, I'm totally good with this swampy behavior, which you claim to care about. You want Tish James to be paid? You want James Comey? What about Ilhan Omar? Right? It was just reported today that Trump's corrupt DOJ filed some sort of lawsuit, some sort of charges against Ilhan Omar. Something about her immigration status. She could come back and say later that she was unfairly targeted. What about the Southern Poverty Law Center that all the MAGA people hate? Or Hunter Biden? How about that? How about that? Cash me outside. Because make no mistake, this is setting a precedent. This sets a precedent for this exact same thing to happen under the next Democratic administration. So to anybody watching, all the MAGA people hate watching, do not whine, do not throw tantrums like little bitch babies when or if this happens on the other side. If you don't speak out against this right now, then you can suck it. Anyway, guys, there you go. We are becoming the most corrupt country. We're becoming North Korea and Russia combined. So anyway, I will let you know when I hear more. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please please share so everybody understands what's going on. Subscribe if you have not. Please donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.